PR Connections Radio presents the Love of Business Podcast. The love of business, nurturing the entrepreneurial spirit. This show is brought to you by Paid Per Letter. Write letters and make a difference. paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan.
All right. Thank you, guests, for joining us. You're watching the Love of Business podcast. I'm your host, Davin Sundvik. Today, our guest is Jay Garcia. We're going to be introducing ourselves. We always let guests go first. Unfortunately, Edgar will not make it, so I will be the primary host for the day. So, Jay, it's just going to be you and me bouncing back and forth. I'll ask you a question. I make some commentary. You might make a quick comment on it, and then I'll move to the next question. So,
Cool.
Jay, just go ahead, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Jay. I'm here from Las Vegas. I grew up here. I'm from here. I run a junk removal service. So we're a junk solutions company. We help people declutter, clear out garages, storages, pick up trash around dumpsters, you name it. If there's trash there or something, we can take care of that.
Awesome. Rock on. And just for our guests who are, might be new or just joining us or are, visitors, I'm Davin Sundvik. I'm your co-host. I co-host with Edgar Rodriguez, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur. So what that means is I do commercial real estate, residential real estate, but I also coach investors as well and help people build their wealth. So with that being said, now that the audience knows us a little bit, Jay, how did you first get into entrepreneurship? Like, were you always an entrepreneur, like even as a kid, or did you have a job first and then you switched over? Kind of explain that to us a little bit there.
No, so I would say for me, it started when I was young.
Yeah.
When I was probably about 10, 11 or so, I remember my dad would take me over to the swap meet, the outdoor swap meet, and I started selling video games there. And then I would go to GameStop. I would buy, video games that were on clearance, and then I'd go back and take them to the swap meet and resell them there. And that's kind of how I started. I started liking being able to make my own money and being able to, do what I wanted to with my money. And I kept the video game thing going for, till I was like 17. I jumped onto eBay and I started doing it there. And then at 18, I got a job. I ended up getting into property management.
Okay. All right. Rock on. So actually a little bit about the real estate industry then, and the property management game then. Okay. Rock on.
Yeah, I did it for 6 years.
Okay. See, I got a buddy, he's into property management, and he tells me, he's like, I would never start a property management business without a business partner. He goes, it is just a crazy business to be in. So
That's why I ain't in it anymore.
I can relate. I can see why. No worries. All right. I feel like a lot of people like they have that employment period first, or like they might be entrepreneurial when they're young, and then like you said, they realize, like, they get stuck in a job and they're like, man, this is like a job, just over broke, like, I'm not making enough money to live comfortable, but like at the same time, like it's too stressful or whatever it is, it's just not worth it. So do you have other people that run your business with you, or did you just go out all on your own at first? How'd that work?
No. So me and my cousin actually started it. So we both worked in the property management space. We were working together. So I started when I was 18. He's a little older than me, but I would say he started about 4 years later or so. So he was only in it for about 2 years. And then I was just like, man, I'm getting burnt out. I gotta find something to do. And I remember we would hire people to do what I do now. I'd hire people to clean up around dumpsters. If a tree fell over, I'd hire people to clean it up. And I was like, man, that looks like fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's physical, it gets you outside, I think people also have a certain amount of respect for manual labor too.
Yeah.
Like when you know exactly what you're hiring, but when you're a paper pusher, like, and you work in sales, like there's a lot of people who are like, what are you doing for me that I can't do myself? It's like, well, you can go get a real estate license and do exactly what I'm doing, right?
Man, I can't tell you when I was doing that, how many times people, I had people wanting to rip my head off. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, now people love me. I'm like,
Yeah.
people are happy to see their trash go away. So,
Exactly. Exactly. So obviously you saw the opportunity from a previous business, which is I feel like kind of necessary, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you got to look for opportunity first. I feel like everybody, they go on the internet, they go on YouTube, they go, what is the best side hustles?
yeah,
And it's like, okay, that might be a great side hustle, but do you actually have in-depth knowledge? Do you actually have the opportunity? So you were the customer of this service and you became the provider. So
yeah,
um,
and I was able to see that, the service aspect of it from a lot of these guys that we were using wasn't
yeah,
the greatest. They
yeah,
were kind of, it was, I can't blame them. They were probably didn't really want to put too much, I guess emphasis on the service, which is our number one thing.
yeah.
Our thing is we tell people we don't clean up trash. We help people out and we give them a great experience while we're doing it.
Absolutely. How I actually found your business, I think I've told you this a couple of times now. I found you on your website. I saw that we actually had a mutual connection, who's actually been on the podcast, Nick Mitchell. So shout out to Mitchell Pest there.
Oh, cool.
So he's actually been on the podcast, but also I was really impressed with your systems. When I left a voicemail, I got an automated text back, and I was like, "This guy knows business. Like he knows sales." And that's what actually made me motivated to hire you to clean out our garage when we were doing our post construction cleanup here. Uh, so if I can compliment anything about your business on the customer side, you've got some great systems there. So obviously you knew a little bit about business when you were setting that up.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
what is the biggest challenge that you're facing right now in your business? What would you say that is right now?
I would say right now it's scaling. So
Scaling.
we've got one truck out full time, we've got one part time, but in total we've got a total of four trucks that we're able to
Gotcha.
run completely. So I have, the thing is being able to trust the guys to kind of handle it themselves without you know, without
Yeah.
getting rid of that customer service aspect of it.
Mhm.
It's hard to let that go.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I'm in a very similar position in my business, right? I've got a kid on the way, and it makes me think to myself, like, man, like if I need to be at home, what would happen to my business if I couldn't literally do every single part of it? And so you have to start delegating. But what I realize is you got to just delegate a piece of that pie, right? And so,
Yep.
what piece can you delegate, what piece you can't? What I found is you can't delegate out certain parts of customer service. Like sometimes as the business owner, you just have to be that number one person who has all the answers. So, that's the bad news. But the good news is, there's probably a lot of other jobs in your business that you can probably fulfill there. So, okay, interesting stuff. Would you say that there's a lot of competition in that space? Because when I had a
Oh,
pickup truck, okay,
oh,
a lot of competition, huh? Yeah,
oh man, yeah. Google it right
I
now. You'll
know.
probably get 150 results or more. I don't even know where it's at now, but that
Yeah.
that's that's where we focus on the customer service side of it because so some of these guys people call us sometimes after they use somebody else or something that maybe isn't just kind of doing it on the side or whatever, but they'll tell us like, hey, the difference is there, like you guys kept me updated, you guys had a system in place that's going to let me know when someone's going to be here, confirmation letting me know someone's going to be here, you guys are thorough with it, you guys are good at communicating here while you're here. And sometimes, I mean, I've gotten a few where they'll be like, man, I was scared that this guy was going to come back and break in my house after after he left, when they use those, someone, I don't know, someone that maybe doesn't really take this serious or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that that's a big one. We do focus a lot on commercial because I know um, a lot of the guys that are kind of doing it on the side, they can't really touch that part of the business. So that's been a big focus for us too.
Rock on. Good deal. Good deal. All right, let's transition just a little bit. So, what are some ways? What are some benefits of being a business owner? Right. So we kind of got into the why you started. Right. There was that burnout phase where you're like, I got to do something different. And then obviously you're going through your own challenges and your growth because you've had some success. I call these good problems to have, right? When you're trying to focus on scaling. But what are some of those benefits that you're working on right now, like in your business? That what's the joy of being a business owner? Would you say?
I would say the freedom.
Yeah,
The freedom. For me, it's more freedom more than anything. If I have to, so I've built a pretty good connection with a lot of local guys out here. Um, one in particular that we're really really good friends. And so what happens is if for some reason I got to go out of town, I got to take a couple of days off. I'm able to just to do that. And if for some reason there's a job going on that I don't feel comfortable uh, for someone else to handle, one of my guys or something, without me being there, uh, I've got another business that I would just sub out in my place and have them do it. Just because I know we talk a lot about what we do, how we do
yeah,
it, and we're pretty much on the same page with how we run our business.
yeah. That's critical. So you say you sub out to them. Are they? Would you call them like a semi-competitor, where they're like kind of like a good connection, but also a competitor at the same time? Like they bring in their own clients and things like that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd call him a collaborator.
Yep.
So we
Collaborative
collaborators.
competitor. Yeah.
Yeah, we've tackled jobs together, huge jobs together. Sometimes when we've got a job where I got to bring my people, he's got to bring his people. We'll make it happen. But yeah, we give a lot of tips to each other. We talk about like the state of the business, how things are going, and I'd say friendly competition slash collaborator.
Yeah. Uh, that's a really, I don't think we've had somebody talk about that particular section of business, but I've always been a big proponent to people that I coach, whether it's like a real estate agent that's coming underneath my wing, or
Hmm.
somebody that joins my networking group and they're asking questions about networking, and talk about competitor relationships, because you might be buying their business one day, they might be buying your business one day, or you might have to tackle a customer so big or a problem so big that you have to work together on it and everybody can make money, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes that problem is so big where, like, it's not necessarily you haven't handled that type of client before, but you haven't handled that client while you're out of town. Okay, well, that's a new problem for me, right? How do I go out of town and travel and handle my clients? Like you said, you got a referral system there where you can sub things out. And in real estate, we got to do the same thing. Like, I got to take vacation too, but customers still want to see property, right? So that's
exactly.
really cool that you brought that up there. That's very powerful in your business. And I can tell you it's a really key indicator of success if you can collaborate with competitors. That's cool.
Yeah, and they've we've helped each other out a lot. I can tell you this one job we did. This was sometime last year. Big property clean out. We ended up in total with all of our resources. We ended up bringing out 10, 11 guys out to that job. We were working for about 12 hours, and him and I was just running loads back and forth. I think we ran somewhere around 12 loads out of the
Yeah.
house, and it was, man. I'm like, after I looked at that job, I've never really experienced anything like that. And I was like, well, I don't think I would have been able to figure this out by myself.
That's good. That's awesome. So you talked about commercial. Cleanup. How do you do your outreach with business owners right now, or is it mainly inbound? Like, are business owners reaching out to you, and then you have to filter those calls? How's that kind of working with your marketing there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Some of the customers we have that are, commercial, some of them reach out to us. We're pretty heavy on the Google Maps and Google Business Profile and stuff. And then we do some outreach where we'll do like boots on the ground marketing, man. We'll
Mhm.
keep bugging people. I hate to say it, but we'll be like, hey, can I stop by a couple weeks, see if you guys are interested, drop off some goodies or something, and just let them know we're there. I actually have one that's a really good customer of ours. I bugged them for a while, and they finally gave us a shot after like 8 months or a year, and we've been able to work together really well, and it's been a good relationship. I remember going in their office, dropping off some business cards, and they're like, "Ah, no, we got somebody." I was like, "Ah, okay, well, I'll be back. I'll be back, maybe."
That's
So
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I came back a couple times. Yeah, like 8 months later from that first visit, they gave us a shot because they had an emergency. Once they saw how we worked, they just kept using us.
Yeah. And so these businesses, are they like construction companies, property management companies? Is that kind of your focus in there?
Yeah, it's more like apartment complexes. We've got some storage facilities, where we clean out storage units that either don't sell at auction or people abandon, or they might
Okay.
just, yeah, they need to go away. So those are like our top two: storage facilities, apartment complexes, some commercial parks too, like business parks. We service a lot of those too, and those,
Gotcha.
I would say, those are the top three.
Yeah. So like just tenants leaving behind stuff and they're like, I don't want to
Hmm.
deal with it. The landlord can deal with it. And the landlord's like, I don't want to deal with it. So it's a lot of landlords then.
Yeah,
Okay.
or what happens too is, somebody will get a hookup with somebody taking away a mattress or something, and they'll just go dump it at
Yeah.
these dumpster sites, and then it's my job to go pick it up.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Makes sense. Interesting. So okay, so I've got an interesting question. It's not really about business, it's really about your businesses. Like, where does all this stuff go? Like, do you have like a commercial account at a commercial waste facility, or does it go to the Henderson dump? Like, how does that actually like work? Is some of this resellable? Like, kind of talk to me about the actual business part of it too. Like, let me understand it.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say it's intricate. So there's a good amount that goes into it. One of the big points we have is that we try to recycle and donate what we can first,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the stuff gets dumped. So the process when we're loading up the truck, as we're loading it, we kind of see, this stuff is recyclable, this stuff is donatable, and this stuff is junk. So we'll, start loading up the junk first, all the trash, putting it towards the back because we know that's going to have to go to the landfill. And then we donate a lot to a couple of different organizations in town. We work with Salvation Army, we work with
Okay.
Deseret Industries, and then yeah, we drop that stuff off, and then we go recycle what we can, and the rest gets disposed. Now, sometimes there's days where it can get a little crazy, and back to back jobs or something. So then when it comes to that point, I'll have a guy drive up to us with another truck. We'll load his truck up with the recyclables, donatables, and he'll take that. And then the main truck will just keep going down the road, picking up, taking junk and stuff from people's houses.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. So you kind of have like a first priority system where like the good stuff is treated slightly differently than I don't want to call it the bad stuff, but the waste,
Yeah,
right? The
the
stuff
junk.
that really is truly junk, right? Because yeah, sometimes what's junk to one person is not all of it's junk. Like you said, some of it like other people can reuse, or sometimes we can recycle it, which is actually awesome to hear. Because as our planet kind of, as we expand into the planet, we're using those resources. And if we don't recycle it, it's not there for the next generation, right? So,
Yeah, and then I just realized to answer the next part of your question, we do have a commercial account with the landfill and then with some transfer stations around town. But
yeah,
yeah, the landfill, I don't know if you've ever been, but it's one of those things you should check out while you're in Vegas. You When you see it, you'll be like, man, I can't believe there's something like this close to Vegas.
yeah. Oh, are you talking about the one up as you drive north on the 93
Yep. The Apex
Apex?
landfill.
Yeah, that one's interesting. I've driven past it a couple of times, and it's just crazy to see like how much land we use that wildlife
Hmm.
can't use. We can't build housing on it. We can't build businesses out there, right? All of it is literally just what we put in the garbage, and it
Yep.
makes you more conscientious of like, man, like maybe I should live my life a little different, but
It does, because then I start thinking about some of this stuff, and I'm like, man, this stuff is gonna end up getting buried. Like,
yeah.
should I really throw this out? And then it kind of makes you think, I probably shouldn't throw that out. That's not good.
Yeah, which I think is important because I think there's probably like you said in your industry when you have a lot of competition, right? Typically, what a lot of people will do is they'll say, okay, how can I cut my costs as much as possible? How can I cut as many corners, right? And that's where you get the people that are like throwing out stuff that could be donated, but it
Yeah,
just takes a little extra time, right? So,
exactly.
um, I got a question. Businesses, I think it's great to give back. So you're donating. Would you say that your donations help you build relationships and get more jobs, or would you say it's kind of like just pure giving? It's just an opportunity to kind of just get rid of some stuff that could have been used by someone else. Kind of help educate the audience there on that part of your business.
Yeah, I would say it helps us out. It helps us out with getting business and stuff. Now, I don't wanna say which places because I don't know if they're allowed to do it, but
Yeah,
but I got like some of these donation areas. I'm really cool with the guys. The guys are nice, they always help me out when I show up. So some of them, like I give them stacks of business cards,
yeah.
and when somebody shows up and they're like, "Hey, I have something I want to donate, but it's too heavy," they'll pass out my business cards, and it's helped me get a couple of jobs out of it.
See, there you go. It's so underrated. So under anything that you give back in business, I feel like people are totally okay. Like if you've given free value, like something that's truly free, right? Like a donation, or you volunteer somewhere and you give out a stack of business cards. You say, hey, look, if you guys, need my help in business in any way, give me a call. People are actually willing to do it. It's like the best form of free. I don't want to call it free advertising. You still give the donation, still give the time, whatever you give, but I don't think you can get that level of advertising on Google, like as far as the ROI goes, because like you're donating
Yeah.
something that somebody paid for you to take away. So you're almost getting paid to advertise for free, right? That's
Yeah,
cool.
and I feel like it's good for the soul too. Like I've got some guys that, I can't tell you how many people I've helped furnish their house. Like, man,
Yeah.
anybody that knows me, somebody they got a list for me, stuff they need for their house. So I've told people completely furnish, put couches in their house, put beds in their house, and it's, some a lot of them they'll shout us out on Facebook. They'll, share us here and there, give us likes, but I know it's not going to lead to direct business, but it's one of those things that it makes me feel good to know that I know where it's going. I know they
Yeah.
they could use it, and I really like that.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's not direct, it's indirect because all of those people that you help, right? And this is how I feel in business, right? Even if they're not going to become a customer or it's not somebody that directly impacts my business, if my business can indirectly help them and they feel satisfied and happy about it, they're going to tell people who are
Hmm.
possibly going to be actual customers of my business. Like we've established, right? Commercial, um, like either contractors or mainly landlords or apartment building owners or managers or things like that. Those are going to be your ideal customer. But somebody that you help out that you give a free couch to, they might need an apartment manager one day, right? You don't know who's going to be that
Yeah.
apartment manager, and that's going to be a new account. So it's all those good things. They come back directly or indirectly. It doesn't matter, but that's really cool to hear. Um,
Yeah,
do
and
you've
I'll
got any?
say,
Yeah.
while we're on this topic, this is something that's going down this weekend. We're going to donate basically 2 trucks for the Gill Creek Bird Sanctuary. I don't know if you've heard
Okay.
of it
I've
up
heard
over
of it,
here.
but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Kind of
yes.
explain about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so they're a nonprofit out here in the like northwest side of town, Centennial Hills area,
Hmm.
and they take in birds, they take in animals, llamas, they got goats, they got all kinds of animals that uh people didn't want or people abandoned or they picked out of abusive situations, and
Yeah.
they help the animals out. So they have a lot of junk over the years, it's they've accumulated some stuff. The places need some work, and there's a new director there. She's going through, she's fixing what she can, and we talked to her, and we're going to donate 2 trucks for 8 to 10 hours on this Friday. That's just going to run loads for them back and forth to the dump, so they can hopefully get it cleaned out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's awesome to give back in ways like that, because that's truly one of those things where it's like you could have tried to charge him, and anybody else probably would, but you're going to build an awesome relationship doing that, and it's just such good for the community. So that's really cool, because I've been to Gilcrease Orchards as well, because they have another side of their nonprofit or business, or whatever you want to call it, their organization, where they do the fruits and vegetable picking every single year, which is pretty fun too. So glad to hear you're giving back to that. We are, I don't want to say we're running short on time. We're getting close to kind of like some of our last questions here. So let me ask you this question. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you thought could be a really cool conversation topic? Maybe just an opportunity that I missed here that you want to touch real briefly on the next few minutes?
Yeah, I'd say I could talk all day, but stuff we find,
Yeah.
we find is a good one.
Yeah.
Customers that have given us a hard time, because we've had those too. You let me know what drama you want, and I'll give it to you.
How about this stuff that we find, right? Because I don't want to be complaining about customers on the air, right? Because sometimes customers do give us a hard time, but as business owners, we got to manage that, right? But stuff we find, I can't imagine the stuff that you probably find. So just give us some of a list of what you've found so far, some of the weird ones.
Yeah, so we found a lot of stuff. So bullets is a big one that we find a lot. It's something that's, I can't tell you how many, every other load or something, we find some sort of bullets or something. I found gun safes that people have had us take out. We've had weird refrigerators full of old food that will probably make you pass out if you take a whiff of them.
Gosh.
Yeah, we even had a guy. So he was a basketball player, and he had a picture of Kobe Bryant, a signed picture of Kobe Bryant, him and Kobe Bryant and stuff. And we didn't take that, but it was something cool that I got to see.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So the bullets, I'm curious, right? Because I'm big into wildlife, right? Which means I interact with a lot of like-minded hunters and fishermen. So, like, what do you do with bullets that you find? Because some of them are probably expired, right? So they're useless anyway. But like some of them are rusted, or like, what can you do with it? How are you supposed to dispose of those?
Yeah, so most of the time, thankfully, I've gotten a lot of good bullets, and what we do with those is I take them down to the we got a testing department, and
Okay.
we I personally take care of those. I test them out, dispose of them properly. We're
Yeah.
out of in the desert shooting some cans and stuff. But yeah, the stuff that's not good, we've got someone that takes them. I think what they do is they strip the brass off of them and recycle them. But that's where the no good ones go.
Interesting. Okay, so you actually have so for the good ones, you can just go out and shoot cans in the desert, right? But for the bad ones, you actually have an expert, right? Somebody who actually knows what they're doing and disassembles them, right? Is kind of what they're doing. Yeah, that's really interesting. I never even thought that that'd be a problem, but see, like, you're in the business. That's why I asked that question, is because like I wouldn't even know to ask that one, Jay. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
and there's people that have thrown out bullets at the transfer station, and the guys have ran over them with the little bobcat, and they start popping, and people start hitting the ground. I've heard about that happening a couple of times.
Gosh, craziness. All right. So we've got 2 minutes to wrap up here. So I'll let you go first. Take a minute. If you got anything out of the podcast, feel free to make some commentary, what you enjoyed about the podcast. Make sure people know your contact information in case they want to do business with you, because there are other business owners listening, and they might be intrigued and actually want to do business with you. So you might get some calls when we're done here, hopefully. And then if you got any other commentary outside of what I had mentioned in the first two things, go ahead and shoot it out.
Cool. So I'll be quick. So, podcast wise, I enjoyed the whole thing. This is my first podcast ever. I've never been on camera like this or done anything like this. So, the experience alone has been awesome. As far as contact goes, people can contact us at www.hotmesscleanup.com. My number 702-800-0506, and we're available Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Rock on. Thank you, Jay. All right. So one thing that I got out of it was I really liked how you're able to talk about like not only your business but also your journey too, right? As entrepreneurs, all of our journeys are very unique. Like no two people are the exact same. And I already touched on it, but I'm going to say it again. Competitor relationships are like so undervalued. So the fact that you're willing to bring that up and just explain a little bit about how that helps your business is really cool. So we got to I don't want to say cut short, but we got to cut it off here. So I'm your host, Davin Sundvik. Thank you for watching the Love of Business podcast featuring Jay Garcia, and we'll see you guys next time.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.